Hello and welcome to the proposal of my project about alternative sources of energy in Belize. Today, I'm going to explain you some principles of energy, just basic things for you to understand better the information I collected to present my project, my ideas. First of all, what's energy? Well, energy is simply the capacity to do work, and what's work? Work is a movement against a force. First of all, what's renewable energy? Well, renewable energy, it's something very easy to explain. It's called that way because it doesn't have a negative impact to our nature, our environment, and it can be created by using many of natural components. For example, wind with eolic energy, water with hydroelectric energy, waste, organic waste that can create biomass energy, and fossil fuels that can create electricity from combustion. Well, right now I'm going to explain to you what's the process to convert coal into electricity. The first step is to pulverize coal into a fine powder, allowing it to burn more quickly. Then it is blown into the combustion chamber of a boiler where it is burnt at high temperature. The hot gases and heat energy produced converts water in tubes lining the boiler into steam. This thing right here is our combustion chamber. The high pressure steam is passed into a turbine containing thousands of propeller-like blades. The steam pushes these blades, causing the turbine shaft to rotate at high speed. The steam is condensed and returned to the boiling chamber where it is heated again. That basically means that after the steam passed through the turbines, it's recycled and reused and reheated in the combustion chamber. Then the shaft rotation engages the wire coils and magnets in a generator connected to it. This charged magnetic field produces electricity. Well, what happened here? When the steam moves the turbines, these turbines generate a type of energy called mechanic energy, and then the generator converts that mechanic energy into electricity. The last step is electricity sent to the switchboard transformer, where it is regulated and sent via on-land cables to home. But there's another step very important to take in account. Before the electricity is sent to our homes, the electricity has to be sent to a local transformer and finally sent to our homes. Well, to start talking about renewable energy or alternative sources of energy, we must know at least 2 of the 4 Thermodynamics Laws. Why? Because we must know some things to start talking about the creation of mechanic energy or heat. The first law says that this is the most common law, and I'm sure you have heard of it, and it says that energy cannot be created nor destroyed, but can be transformed from one form to another. And the second law says that the entropy of the universe is increasing. This is a little bit more difficult to understand, but in this case can be defined as the mechanic energy can be transformed into heat, but the heat cannot be transformed into mechanic energy totally. The general idea of my project is based on the generation of hydroelectric energy, and right now I'm going to explain you what hydroelectricity is. Well, basically this is called this way because it uses the power of water to generate energy. I'm going to explain you what are the types of hydroelectric power plants that can be built, and the one that I choose to create my project, to present my idea. Well, as I said before, there are 3 types of hydroelectric power plants. This one is called run of the river, and the most important of this inform. Why? Because this is the model or method I choose to create a project, my idea, to present my idea. How it works? Well, first, a portion of the water from the upper reaches of a river is diverted into a pipeline through an intake wire. This is our intake. Then this pipeline brings water to a 4-bay tank where the water flow is slowed down, allowing sand and other particles to settle. This method possesses a component that retains any type of waste. It can be rocks, slugs, or organic waste. Then, from the 4-bay, clear water passes through a pressure pipe or penstock to the turbine. Then, the natural force of gravity generates energy used to spin the turbine, which is enclosed in a powerhouse together with the generator and control equipment. This house right here is where the generator and the control equipment is located. Then the spinning turbine enables the generator to produce electricity. And finally, from the turbine, the water is discharged down a tail race or canal back into the river. As you can see, electricity is produced in the same way, but in this case, water activates a turbine to create the same force, the same energy, mechanic energy, and then the generator transforms it into electricity. This method is called pumped storage. It's a type of hydroelectric energy storage. It is a configuration of two water reservoirs at different elevations that can generate power as water moves down through a turbine. This draws a power as it pumps water to the upper reservoir. Basically, this is a very convenient method, but the problem with this one is that it requires the construction of a dam, and it should be completely full of water to work. Well, this is the last method, and it's called impoundment facility hydroelectric power plant. This one uses a dam to store river water in a reservoir. Water released from the reservoir flows through a turbine, spinning it, which in turn activates a generator to produce electricity. As you can see in this example, this and the pump storage method requires obligatorily the construction of a dam, and it can be used as a direct source of energy. Why? Because the flow of the river vary, and that means that maybe at one specific date of the year won't produce its total capacity of electricity compared with the capacity that the dam has when the river is flowing with normality. As an interesting fact, Belize just have 4 dams in the entire country that are the Chalillos Dam, the Mojejon Dam, the Bacats Dam, and the Hydromaya Dam. Although these are very expensive projects, just produce 39.2 megawatts hours. With the creation of this project, those numbers will increase to 48.2 megawatts hour for a very low price. The percentage will increase at 0.3%, and which will represent a production of 69 gigawatts annually. Well, let's start talking about my project that I call Belize's Run-of-the-River Hydroelectric Facility. The creation of a hydroelectric project in the Belize's River using a new model that includes a magnificent piece of engineering called the Archimedes Screw will be a facility with excellent results of production for a low price. What is this component? The Archimedes Screw, also known as the screw pump, Archimedean screw or Egyptian screw, is a machine used for transferring water from a low-lying body of water into irrigation ditches. Water is pumped by turning a screw-shaped surface inside a pipe. My proposal is to build this system in this way. The construction process is, as you could see at the beginning of the inform, this method of energy production doesn't need the construction of a dam, and instead of using the traditional pipeline, it will be designed with the implementation of this artifact, the Archimedes screw. So this type of screw is friendly with nature because it doesn't have the typical outlet on its edges and lets the fishes pass through it and possess a grid to retain big rocks, logs, or garbage. It also has an automatic intake that can be controlled automated or manually. The measures of the screw I have selected are diameter 10 meters and the flights up to 5. This screw is capable of work with a charge of 16 meters cubic per second, and it generates an approximated of 800 kilowatts hour. I propose to install 5 screws of the same size in one specific part of the river. This facility will generate 8 megawatts roughly. It will work as a reserve of energy due to the variation of current through the year, but it will of course reduce the demand of fossil fuels as a source of energy. The principal objectives and advantages of the construction of a project like this are a lot. The first one is that this project will generate an approximate of 192 megawatts daily. That is enough to be distributed around to 1,210 families approximately. It has a very low maintenance cost. It can be built a lot of times because it doesn't need a lot of space, and it's very easy to install because it's just a generator and the adaptation of the Archimedes screw on the system. It has an efficiency of 86%. It has a very long life. With this project, the country will take advantage of its resources like the river and land. The decrease on the demand of fossil fuels and the increase of the renewable energy production. The only disadvantage that I found is that this project cannot be denominated as a direct source of energy. Why? Because the river's current can vary through the year, and that's why it cannot be a direct source of energy. But of course will be an excellent option, an excellent alternative of energy, and it will of course be efficient and cheap to build. The biomass energy is a plant or animal material used for energy production. It means that all the organic waste that can be processed and can generate energy. This is a very common type of energy producer, and almost every country has a model of systems like this. This is my explanation about biomass energy and how is this produced. As you can see in this image, this process is extremely similar with all the other processes we have been presenting in this inform. Why? Because all of them have the same finality: create mechanic energy, because it's the principal way to generate electricity. How is biomass energy created? Well, first, heat is created by burning coal, oil, natural gas, or biomass fuel. In this case, sugar's bagasse. 2. To boil water to make steam. 3. Steam turns the blades of huge turbines. 4. Turbines spin generators to create electricity. And 5. Transformer increases the voltage to send electricity over distribution lines. Then local transformers reduce the voltage. In a first instance, I wanted to present a project about to take advantage of the bagasse of sugar, because Belize is the 70th country producer of sugar around the world. That means, of course, that they have a lot of waste, organic waste, that can be recycled, used. But after my research, I learned that Belize has a very big facility in Orange Wall that produces and processes approximately 550,000 tons annually to produce electricity by using sugar's bagasse. And at the same time, the BSI, that is the biggest producer of sugar of Belize, produces 1.3 million tons of sugar annually. So this is one of the best inversions and one of the most important facilities in the country. Why? Because it produces the 22% demand of electricity of Belize, and at the same time distributes this energy to maintain the consumption of BEL. That means that biomass energy is distributed almost around a lot of places in Belize, and it's extremely necessary. It's the second producer after fossil fuels in Belize. So investing in this type of projects is extremely important because they are very convenient, very cheap, and very good with our nature. My conclusion is that to improve the quality of life of the population of Belize, the country should invest in this type of alternative of sources of energy. Why? Because in a country like Belize that possesses a lot of natural resources, is enough able to produce its own energy, its own pure energy, and change the burning of fossil fuels, because it can be extremely bad for our lives. It can produce contamination, and it can be something worse in the future. So by taking advantage of the rivers, of all the organic waste, the country should invest in projects like this to create its own energy and become